first version of the Cook County Farm Bureau Television is dedicated to talking about the Cook County Farm Bureau Political Action Committee. Cook CFB PAC was created in 2009 with the purposes of encouraging member involvement in the political process, as well as providing our members an outlet for that involvement and for contributions for elected officials within the county. Earlier this year, these individuals interviewed for about 6 days candidates for races from the Cook County President to the County Commissioners, and then just this summer they interviewed for 4 days races for the Assessor, President, and also the Board of Review and some of our Commissioners. And we want to have a quick discussion about that process and about the avenues that they use to make sure that we are supporting candidates that are supportive of Farm Bureau policy. Ruth or Jim, can you give an overview of the process that we used this summer?
Yes, I think Vanna sets up the interviews because of her position as staff person. We try and interview every candidate in a particular race. We try and have the same interviewers doing those interviews so that one person's opinion of a candidate remains the same throughout. And when afterwards we meet as a group and we discuss the pros and cons of those candidates, and then we give them a numerical score. By that numerical score, then that goes before the entire committee as to who we will support, i.e. Endorse or not.
Ruth, do you want to talk about the actual discussions that we have as a PAC about the endorsements and the contributions?
Well, we have a meeting after all the scores are compiled, and then it's a long, tedious, drawn-out process of different opinions of how each member of the PAC committee feels. And at the end of this process, we hopefully come to an agreement about endorsements and how we're going to financially support the people with advertisements or money or both.
And when you guys score the candidates, is it based on them themselves, their policies, your feelings? How do you guys handle the scoring?
I personally handle them by how they answer the questions that we present to them, whether they answer them straightforwardly or whether they try and tap dance their way around the question. Many times certain candidates seem to have a penchant for not really answering the questions that's presented to them. They try and fluff their answer, and I personally do not like that. I think a candidate should be extremely forward in their answers when they're asked the question.
And I look at the issues, I look at the questions asked, I look at their accessibility, their past voting record on issues that are important to Farm Bureau and its members, and whether or not and a lot of times people come in and all they really want to do is bash their opponent. And to me, that's not the best way to use the time to try and make an impression on people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, the interviews, obviously they serve the purposes of you guys being able to score and thus be able to make endorsements, but do they also allow Cook County Farm Bureau to have better access to these candidates, or any opportunities for the Farm Bureau to talk about policy?
Well, yeah, I would think so, because being through the interview process twice, and I think, Jim, I know that you are too, people recognize you, they recognize what group you're with, what PAC you're from, and they try to familiarize themselves with farmers and farming issues, and you can tell the people that are genuinely interested in what we're about, that want to work with us, that are have the open door policy, and basically sit down in the chair and ask us, well, what do you guys need from me? You know, what can I do for you?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Ruth, and it doesn't really mean that they are gonna support our side of the issue or our side of the problem. It just means that they are willing to talk to us and listen to our concerns.
Absolutely. Now, the PAC is primarily funded through voluntary member contributions. If a member were to approach you and say, what are you doing with my dollars and are you representing my opinions, what would you say to them?
Well, I would have to say that it's a conscientious group of people that are on the PAC committee, and we're very concerned about what, we're making decisions for the large amount of people that have contributed to this. So we take all the decisions that we make to heart, and no stone goes unturned, or, everything is discussed, right down to, what newspaper or what article, or making sure that everyone's informed about every decision that we make. And I think that would be the most important thing, is that we're not just throwing money around because we can.
Absolutely.
Right, and the way I see it, our support for a particular candidate is what's best for the Farm Bureau, what's best for that person's district, and or what's best for the entire county at large, as far as agriculture is concerned.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jim. I believe Jim said it best, that the Cook County Farm Bureau Political Action Committee does strive to represent our members' opinions with all of our decisions. Jim Gutzmer, who's a member of our board of directors and also the Cook County Farm Bureau Political Action Committee Governance Board, and Ruth Seldenruss, who is a member of our Cook County Farm Bureau Public Policy Team and the Political Action Governance Board, both of these individuals strive to make sure that every dollar that our members voluntarily contribute is used in a manner that our members would be comfortable and confident with. And having spent several hours working with these individuals, they take that very seriously.